Morning Flosstube. I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle. It is Saturday, July 18th, and look at what I finished. This is Light by Barbara Anna, and it is one of the Be Well and Stitch freebies, and there are no words. I am loving this garlandy vine that goes over and behind her, and there are mistakes here. There are leaves that are one or two up or to the side or whatever, and if I'd gridded my fabric, I could have figured them out, but I didn't. And they're leaves. Leaves are organic. They are not all the same size or shape or placement. It's not like a window where you have a definite, this is what should be here right now. So I'm not going to worry about them. I did this in all of the colors that the chart calls for. I didn't make any substitutions. If there is anything, and I love these colors. I love the colors of this vine. I love the color of her dress. I can't make up my mind whether my favorite is this one or the Goose with the Key. They're free downloads. If you haven't downloaded them yet, you should. They're so fun to stitch, and they're gorgeous, and they're amazing, and all the gushing I can possibly do. If I would go back and do something differently, I might have picked a shade of yellow that would pop against the fabric a little bit more for the lantern, but overall everything else is happy. I was worried about her sleeve, but honestly it's not bad at all. And I'm overthinking the colors. I know I am. The other thing with this fabric choice, you really can't see the tip of her tail. Do you need to see it from across the room for it to count? I know with quilting there are things that don't show up from a distance as well if you don't pick the splashy high contrast colors, and with knitting and stitches showing up in stitch patterns, do you need to be able to see it from 10 feet away, or is it okay if you can just see it from a reasonable distance? I don't know the answer to that. I love her so much. My husband has been on vacation for the past not quite 2 weeks, and we stayed home because you have to, or stayed close to home. Usually we would have done some day trips or something, but the last 2 weeks kind of turned into an exercise in, we can't do that, we can't do that, we can't do that, we can't do that. I think we could do that, but it's probably not a good idea, so we won't do that. It's wearing me down. The knowing how many places are still gone and how many of them may never come back, and some of it I understand the necessity of, some of it I think is overkill. I just can't. So after I finished the fox, I picked up Spooky Stitching. This is from 2019, just cross stitch Halloween issue. I had been saving it to start for Mania. And I did get a little bit done for Mania, and then over the past couple of days I did a lot more. You can tell I'm only stitching the black here because I cannot make up my mind what to do about the other colors. I don't really like the orange on the stitched model, just because orange doesn't make my heart go pity pat. I don't know if I want orange. Part of me really wants to sub out a light and dark gray, but I can't quite work up what is the word I want? The enthusiasm, the confidence to make the plunge and start stitching, even though there's not a lot of stitching here. If I start it and I don't like it, I can rip it out and change colors, and I haven't hurt anything. But I am really, if I've got a theme going this week, it is that I am not confident about colors. I had bought a bunch of skeins of, I think it's DMC number 9, the one that I love so much in the Fox's dress, and I was going to use it for Pandemic. And then I started reading all the angry discussion about dye lots and whether it is or is not dye lots, and I worked myself into a bit of a worried little lump about it. And then I got thinking, and I don't know who is right about the dye lot thing. But if I was making a quilt and I was using red fabric, yes, I would try to buy enough red fabric to get the whole background of my 2-color quilt right. But if I ran out, if it didn't work, I would substitute a red fabric that was close enough. And in a quilt, I would be fine with that. So I've told myself, in a sampler, I should have the same philosophy. I need to plug in my printer. I need to print out the pattern. I haven't had the time to do that, and I need to now that today is my first day back to normal life, so I've got a whole list of things that I should be doing today. The socks, I can't believe these are not done. Any other year, and these would have been done over the course of that 2 weeks. I had definitely enough time to do them. I don't want to. I think I might be a bit burned out on sock knitting right now, which is not a bad thing. But I don't have anything else on my needles that isn't complicated right now. And this sock is 2 stitches too big. I don't know what I did. I don't know where I did it. If I am just knitting these socks to keep my hands moving, then it makes total sense to rip this one out and reknit it. I should. I could go either way and it would not make a significant difference, but I need to pick an option and go with it. Or not, because whether I finish these socks or do not finish these socks has no bearing on the rest of life and the world as we know it. Fun things to share with you. Lori Holt did a video on making pincushions from vintage finds, and she used a lot of those old vintage planters that I keep finding in the thrift store and talking myself out of buying. I don't use pincushions. I keep my pins in a box, and I don't use pins enough that I even know where my box is. In my quilting, I only pin when I have to pin, and I don't have to pin that often unless I'm doing curves or something, but it gave me an excuse the next time I find a neat vintage planter at an estate sale. I think I might bring it home, and if I don't use pin cushions, I could use it to hold pens for journaling or something else. So I will put a link to that video. Thrift Shop Commando on her blog had a link to a site that tells you how to date the vintage blue ball jars. I wasn't even done reading her posts, and I was headed over to my fireplace mantle to get my jars so I could see how old they were. The one I was most curious about is not a ball jar. It is a, Atlas. This one, and it is hard. Where is? It is not going to show. There's the signature on the ball jar. Trust me, it's hard to see when I have it up to my eyeballs and I'm looking at it. But this is a triple L, and it is from approximately 1900 to 1910, which means absolutely nothing in the scheme of things, except this jar would have been 10 years old when my farmhouse was built. And sometimes it's just fun to know. So there's that. And it seems like there was something else I wanted to tell you about, but whatever it is, maybe I'll remember it later and it'll go in the next video. The past 2 weeks have been a little bit crazy. There have been one crisis after another, and they are in my own little corner of the world. They have nothing to do with the larger things going on in the world right now. And these are things that in 2 months, we won't even remember they happened. But in the moment, they take time and energy and are deeply, deeply frustrating. I don't know if, I know I told you that I wrecked my van hitting 2 deer driving my son home. Driving home myself after dropping my son off at work. Couple weeks later, my son-in-law is coming home from his job, same stretch of highway, Nobody has seen a deer on this stretch of highway except the 2 I hit and the 1 he hit. They had a new car. Well, it was a 2-year-old car that didn't have a scratch on it, and then there was a deer, and then the car was totaled. He's fine. The deer's not fine. That was annoying for them. This isn't my crisis, but they thought long and hard about what to do and bought another new car that was this year's model of the same car. My daughter had had it a week. She went to the grocery store, and a hit-and-run driver sideswiped her new car. The damage it's significant. If it happened to my little Subaru, it would be one of those say a bunch of bad words and then keep driving it, because it's not worth fixing on an old car, on a car that is not even a week old, that does not have a scratch on it. That is just not fair. And I know that my friends who watch my videos, if they hit somebody's car in the parking lot, would do the right thing and go into the store. And a couple of years ago, my husband hit a car in a parking lot, and we had to go into the restaurant and find the owner, and it's embarrassing and it's hard to do, but you have to do it. We have made up stories about why the person who hit her car might have felt that they were unable to go in and do the right thing, but just let's all try to do the right thing as much as we possibly can, please. And that is a sad... This video, I feel discombobulated this morning. I don't know if it's because it's my first day back on my regular schedule or what I've got going on in my head today. I'm going to start this uploading and head to the grocery store, and there is, quote, a humdinger of a garage and estate sale that I might check out, but it is being run by the estate sale company that I absolutely know lies in their ads, so my hopes are not high, but it is close to places I will be going today anyway, so if it is not crowded, we will check it out. If it is crowded, I'm not messing with that. And speaking of that, it is Saturday, and maybe I shouldn't be going to the grocery store, but food is low, so we'll go see what the situation looks like and make decisions from there. I hope that you are all staying safe. I hope that you are all keeping your projects going and your fingers moving and enjoying your stitching as much as you can. Thank you for watching. I am Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle, and I will be back with you again soon. I've got just a ton of things I want to work on and share with you.